lovely cubs, it's the Dragon Lord here, back again with a new What If. Now today we're doing part 1 of What If Shinra Kusakabe was the shield hero. I thought it would fit. I mean, the guy wants to protect people and he wants to be a hero, so it works, right? So anyway, I just want to say a few things. Let's try to get, first of all, let's try to get through 1,000 subs by the end, before, like, I don't know, the 6th of November. It's my goal, I guess. So if you guys could maybe scroll down, hit subscribe. You don't have to like. I mean, subscribing is free, so thank you for that already. Let's try to get to 1,000 before the 6th of November. Anyway, another thing I want to say is, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. So, Shinra is fighting his younger brother Sho, as he's constantly forcing this Adola link, which he gets a grace by, and he goes so fast that he can't hardly control it. Now, Licht is watching this, and he thinks that Shinra is going down to the molecular level and is going backwards in time. That's how fast he's going, and that's how he moves this fast. Now, Sho is confused by this, and they keep having their battle. Now, at one point, Shinra's about to get cut by Sho, but he sees this massive flash of light as he ends up waking up in this new room. And he sees this priest who starts speaking. "Oh, brave heroes, can you please save our world?" Now, Shinra, hearing the word hero, jumps up and says, "I'll help," as these three guys to his left say, "What?" As he looks over and they say, "Dude, we got summoned to another world and they ask for your help and you just instantly say yes without repercussion." Yeah, sorry, the word hero just really made me happy, as he gets this weird demon smile of being kind of awkward. Now, the three others say, maybe we'll help, but it'll cost you. We don't want you to throw us out after we help you." Now, the priest says, "Totally. We first want you to meet our king. He'll explain further." Now, they're going up the tower, and Shinra just looks out and he sees the city, and he's like, "Wow, it looks so nice. And the air smells so fresh out here." And this is when Rin comments, "Have you never been out of Japan? I mean, this looks like a pretty Mediterranean continent." Now, Shinra says, "You mean the Tokyo Empire? So are there other empires besides Tokyo Empire?" Now, the others get confused by this, but they just decide to not question this. And they end up going to the king's room, the throne room. And the king says, "Ah, brave heroes. I'm so glad you could join us. Could you please introduce yourself?" Now, Izuku starts talking and... Or not Izuku, what am I talking about? Rin introduces himself, Moroyasu introduces himself, and Itsuki introduces himself. Now, the king ignores, Shinra, but Shinra just says, "Hey, am I not supposed to introduce myself?" Now, the king would notice Shinra, and he would notice that Shinra's not wearing any shoes, and he's like, "Where are you?" Anyway, introduce yourself. And he says, "My name is Shinra Kusakabe. I'm a Fire Force soldier. I'm a Generation 3rd type pyrokinetic. And, I want to become a hero." Now, everybody's kind of like just confused by this. And the king says, "What do you mean by 3rd generation pyrokinetic?" And Shinra's like, "Well, I'm more of a... how do I say that? I use an Adola burst. I don't know if you guys know what that is. And I fight human combustion." Now, the king is so confused by this, and he says, "What is human combustion?" And Shinra explains, "Well, I guess this is another world, but in the world where I come from, humans combust and they become infernals. They are basically just these fire monsters. And whenever they turn into these fire monsters, they just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but they hurt people, and thus we have to stop them, and we use our abilities to. Now the king asks what his abilities are, and Shino's like, "Can I show you?" And the king says, "Go ahead." Shinra ends up, flying up in the air using his fire, and he's like, "I can basically just do this." Now Shinra notices that, like, the people, like, Rin is asking, "Is that draining any of your MP?" And Shinra just asks him, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Open your menu, you dork." And Shinra is like, "What menu?" And he says, "Look in the bottom right of your vision, you should see something. Try focusing on it." Now, Shinra opens it, and he sees menu, and he gets a few pop-ups and stuff like that. But he says, "What is MP? Check the blue bar," Rin screams at him. And he says, "No, it's not going down from 100. Now, Rin just says, "So your abilities are otherworldly." Now, Shinra has to explain his power to the heroes, and they kind of just can't comprehend it, so we're just gonna stick it with there. But anyway, the king knows that Shinra will probably be strong, so I don't think he will, do the thing he does. Anyway, the heroes, get to talk with the king a bit, and the king explains what the waves are and all of that jazz, right? Just like in canon. Now they get sent to the rooms, and this is where a lot of things start to change. First of all, they ask Izuku the questions, and Izuku explains. Izuku. I say Izuku again. I recorded Izuku before this, so if I say Izuku a lot, I'm sorry. I recorded an Izuku what if before this, which you guys are gonna get tomorrow. And yeah, I didn't. I was thinking too much about that. Anyway, they ask Shinra what his world is like, and he explains that he lives in an empire called Tokyo Empire, and that there was a disaster that wiped out all of humanity, and that it got caused by this evil villain called the Evangelist, and that he's trying to stop the Evangelist. Now, the other heroes are also confronted about their worlds, and they explain that each one of their worlds is different because, they do the test thingy. And they still ask, Shinra more questions about, like, technology in his world and all that, and how they survived that great catastrophe. Now, Shinra has to explain it all, and after a night of explaining, he's just tired and goes to bed. Now, the other heroes are still confused on his powers and stuff like that, and because the spy didn't really hear anything about Shinra not knowing much about the world, because they were just basically talking about his world a lot, there is no thing about the king, saying that the heroes, that the people shouldn't join him. So they get woken up and they get brought to the king's throne. And the king says, "These will be your party members. These are the finest adventurers we have." Now, Shinra just kind of looks on like, "Are you serious? These are the greatest adventurers?" I mean, they all kind of look weak, not gonna lie. He doesn't say this out loud, but he just thinks it. Now, they still choose their parties, and I think that a few people would join Shinra. First of all, mine would still join Motoyasu. And out of the people that join Izuku, I was about to say it again. Out of the people that say join Shinra, there is... Now, actually, 4 people join his group. There's first the guy with the big double-headed war axe. We will call him Bert, because I don't know his name. Then there is the guy with the kind of bluish hair that looks like a vampire. We shall call him Vlad for him looking like a vampire. And then 2 others join him, which, first of all, there is the small girl with the hat. We shall call her Emmy. And then there's one more, who is the green-haired girl, which we shall call, I don't know, Temmie. No, Teresa. Or Therese. No, that already exists. Wait, what? We shall call the lighter green haired girl Tefa. Tefa is her name. So we have Karate Girl, double Warhags guy, and small girl with staff who does magic, and Vlad. So we have two mages and two close range fighters. Now, Shinra's like, you guys sure you want to stick with me? And, Bert is like, yes, after I heard your power display, I was sure I wanted to join you. The two girls just joining because they think he's cute. And, Vlad also being thinking that he should be a quite easier person to be with, to fight with. Now for the rest, the parties are kind of still like in canon, with some of the heroes literally only gaining like one person. But anyway, I'm kidding. Anyway, the other parties are gonna be similar to as in canon, but Rin will only have two people join his party, which is the other big axe guy and the assassin. Moroyasu basically only has two people join him. Well, mine also joins him, but I don't think. Yeah, basically only has mine, and then two other girls join him. And Itsuki's the one who actually suffers the most because he gets to sit only with, Mauld, and I don't know what the guy's name is. Mauld and then one of the others. Anyway, and then actually no, the one who suffers the most is no one. It's 3-3, and then yeah, perfect. We balanced it out by accident. Perfect. Anyway, they leave the throne room, all getting their money, with the other heroes getting a bit more than Shinra, because Shinra is the biggest party. Now, Shinra, asks his party members where they should go, and they all say that they should probably sign up at the Adventurers Guild first, because that's where they could, get stuff. So, Shinra decides to go with them. They show him the way, and he signs up with the Adventurers Guild. Now, another thing that Shinra tells, that they tell Shinra is that they should probably get some gear, and they bring him to the only shop, the only shop that we know of, which is Erhard, and Erhard tells him that he has a sword and stuff like that, but when Shinra picks up the sword, it says the weapon violation rule, so he cannot use a sword. What shall we do now? I can't use a sword, so I'll have to mainly rely on my feet, right? Now the others say, yes, or you could bash the monsters with your shield, but we're here to help. And Shinra says that that is correct. Now, he gets a armor set, which he does not buy the boots because he doesn't need them, because, it's fire. And the others say that he should buy a pair of boots, for manners, and he does, but he mainly uses his, what he has. Now, he tells the shopkeep to analyze his Fire Force suit because it's very good, and he wants something similar to it in armor, with similar effects to it. Now, when Erhard scans it, he says, "This is very fine quality, almost better than what I gave you. I'll see what I can do, but that'll be a custom order, so I don't know how much." And Shinra says, "If we can scrape together, how much would you need?" And the shopkeep says, 2 gold coins. Shinra says, "We could probably scrape that together, right, guys?" As he looks at his party members, and they're kind of just like, "That's a lot of money." Now, Shinra says, "Well, we'll get it in no time." So, anyway, they leave out for the fields, and I'd say, because they're all set as companion, Shinra does, fight, but his damage is reduced by a lot. He only does about 10 damage, and it will go up as he levels, but he does 10 damage for now. His powers are still repressed. Now, he thinks that this is maybe just because of his shield, limiting his powers. And the others say that maybe he just starts out weaker, but that he still does a lot of damage, because he can still one-shot the balloon monsters. And because it's fire, it adds the fire status effect to them. So they end up leveling up a bit, and I'd say that Shinra reaches about level 10 after an hour or so, but they still do the same thing that Naofumi does, feeding all of the monster parts to his shield. And he figures out quite fast that he can become that this world is kind of weird, because when he put the balloon monster fragment in his shield and he unlocked the balloon monster shield, it upgraded his stats overall a bit, but it also let him become a bit stronger because of his fire powers, being able to let him use a bit more every time he leveled. At level 10, I'd say his damage already was at like 44. And, he can go nearly the speed of light. Come on. Anyway, he still does his trick with, his fingers. Now, he hasn't learned Korna yet, but I think he would probably learn that soon. Anyway, he still goes into the forest. They go into the forest in the first day, and he collects the plants and stuff, getting the leaf shield, and he collects the herbs, which Vlad actually tells him that the herbs can be used to make potions, and that they should probably try to find something that will let him create potions. So anyway, Vlad recommends that they should probably go fight some more monsters, and Shinra still fights with the rabbits, and they beat the rabbit quite quick, and they also fight some other monsters, and this ends up giving Shinra the blend skill at nighttime, and they decide to camp out the first night. Now, I was about to say Izuku. Shinra then decides to make some potions, and he decides that it would be good that he sells these and keeps a few for his party as well. So he tells Bert to, carry some potions, and Bert does, having a pouch, and they end up holding 10 potions for themselves, both mana and healing, and they sell the rest the next day. Now, the next day, everybody gets called into the castle, and they do, but, Bert and Vlad come with Shinra, because Shinra doesn't feel safe around the king and the others. Now, Shinra gets accused of a few things that he did not do, like theft, and Bert and Vlad actually defend him, which makes the king question why the eyewitnesses would say that, Shinra did this. Now, the king tells them, asks them if they lied, and, the eyewitnesses can't not refuse, so they say, yeah, we lied about it all. And the king then says that they should be imprisoned for, making such a false rumor and having the entire kingdom nearly swept up in it. As a hero can't steal, blah, 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 blah. Now, the king apologizes to Shinra and says, what can I do to repay you? Because the king thinks that Shinra's quite strong and that he's actually, a gift from God, because he can definitely beat the waves. So Shinra says, I don't know, how about support, I guess? Like maybe, I don't know, items that I could feed to my shields to get stronger, and maybe some money. We need money. And the king says that he will give Shinra a bonus every time after every wave. So I'd say his bonus is about like 10% more, which is not a lot, but I mean it's good for Shinra. And he also gives Shinra some materials, not high or rare, but I'd say 2 medium tier materials that he gets to feed to his shield. Shinra, being happy with this, accepts. Now Bert and Vlad are still quite angry at the king, and they say that the king should probably do an investigation to see why the guys did this. So the king ends up, saying that one if the people should investigate why they lied. This is going to come in later on. Now, Shinra says, we should go back to Erhard. I mean, with this money, we could probably, get that armor I asked for. Now, they go to Erhard, and Basically, Erhard just asks what Shinra wants. Shinra explains everything he wants, and Erhard just asks the money in 2 weeks, and Shinra says that they'll have the money in 2 weeks. Them having nearly enough to pay it. So, they still sell the potions and the monster parts, and I think I'm gonna leave it off here. Because I just want to have a concept for this. As I said, happy Halloween, guys. And with that out of the way, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Subscribe for more! Say so.